So today I'm going to talk about how to use stress to your advantage. So in the scenario I made up, Stacy was out with her friends when she received an email from her professor reminding her that she had a test tomorrow. She completely forgot about this test, and instantly she began to become stressed out, and her stressful symptoms began to show. She didn't know what she was going to do, and initially the stressor is going to be processed in the amygdala, and from there it can travel in two different pathways. The first pathway is the activation of your sympathetic nervous system, and that causes things like sweaty palms, racing heart, increased breath rate, increased blood flow, things that are going to prepare your body to fight or flight. You're either going to fight against this stressor or you're going to avoid it altogether. The second pathway is to the prefrontal cortex, and in the prefrontal cortex you're going to process and evaluate the stressor and see what you can do to overcome it and things like this. In order for Stacy or you to be successful when confronted with a stressful situation, example, unexpected test the next day, you need to use the biopsychosocial model. This means that you're going to process the stressor as a challenge, and you're going to be adaptive in the way that you handle this stress. You're going to use these reactions to your advantage. So you're going to use the sweaty hands, the racing heart, the body's reactions as fuel to your fire in completing this challenge. You use it to your advantage, meaning that you're going to get things done faster. You're going to go for it. You're just actually going to study. You're going to get all the last minute things you need to get done before the next day. This is adaptive because you're making the best of the situation. Your body's natural responses are something that's always going to happen, and you're going to need to use those to your advantage instead of focusing on the negatives, which is what would happen if you continue to process the stress as a threat. You're going to stay focused on all the negative outcomes, meaning you're just going to dwell on, oh, I'm going to fail. There's no way I can pass this test. It's all going to go downhill from here. There's no way to pick myself up. There's no way I could study all this stuff in time. You're going to become overwhelmed by the stressful reactions and the situation. So the sweaty palms and the increased breathing and all these bodily reactions are going to be too much for you, and you're just going to get more stressed out by the stress that you have. You're not going to be able to get the job done. It's not going to turn out how you want to turn out, so it's maladaptive. That means you're trying to avoid the situation completely, or you're trying to fight it, meaning you're going to be too stressed out, like it's not going to work out the way you want it to. You could also avoid it, meaning you're going to come up with excuses as to why you couldn't get it done. You're going to try to find a way to get out of it. You're going to lie, all these types of things, and that's going to create bad habits in the future. So really the best way to handle a stressful situation is to give yourself a minute, allow your brain to process the stress, and then to use it to your advantage, to find out a game plan of how you're going to get everything you need to get done. Really, the only positive outcome is going to come from this type of model. So allow yourself a minute to think. Don't get stressed out initially by what's happening, because that's not going to help you in any way. The best way to do this is to know and be knowledgeable about these types of things, like knowing that you can use the stress to your advantage is something that's really going to help you in the future.